Right, I'm live. Of course, nobody's here because I didn't announce this. But in any event, I'm about to launch the site. If I can make it on time. Find the setting somewhere. Where is it? Settings, there it is. Maintenance mode. Deactivated. Should be it. Once I do that, 14 seconds to go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6. I can't count anymore. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. We have liftoff. Maybe. Let's see if that worked. Yeah, it worked. Seems to have lost some formatting somehow. It's probably because somebody's working on the site still. Yeah, it's still technically a little bit under construction, but it's basically there. I'm wondering if I can do screen share, and then you can see it right here. I'm sure there's an option, but I don't really know what it is. If you know, put it in the chat. If you can hear me okay, or if you can't hear me, put it in the chat. Seven people watching. Remarkable YouTube, really. It's just like a whole community of people waiting for something to see, I suppose. So the new site, Land Made Man, is now up. The site is a new beginning for me, and I timed the launch with the 20th anniversary to the hour of the first strike on the Twin Towers. You may call me morbid, you may call me sensationalist. I didn't plan this very far in advance. I think I decided this morning, actually, but obviously I knew it was going to be the 20th anniversary, and I was initially going to try and get the site up by September the 7th, which was I think it was the 32nd anniversary of when I went off to Mexico to seek Don Juan, or one of those sorcerers, to be initiated into that world. That was 32 years ago on September 7th, but it became apparent I wasn't going to make that deadline, so I thought, well, what's the next significant date? Oh, look at that, September 11th. Oh, 20 years. 9 plus 11 is 20, and the Twin Towers went from 2 to 0, as you know if you've thought about it at all, or if you've seen Being the One, back in the days where I was really playing with fire. Not literally, but literally Promethean fire, if there is such a thing as a literal metaphor, myth. Anyway, so I hope I'm not doing that now. I don't mean to be playing with fire or to be playing with provocative imagery arbitrarily or gratuitously. I just thought, well, if I'm going to time it on this historical day, which seems like it's going to be possibly historical in other ways too. The social engineers have planned some sort of event today also, in terms of what the Biden passed law from 2 days ago, I think it was, and the response to that, and some planned insurrection and whatnot event. Who knows if anything will actually happen that is truly significant today, but certainly can't rule it out. And for me, it's a very significant weekend, as you will know if you've been following at all my blog posts, and if you haven't, you can find out pretty quickly. I should put the link to the website in the show notes, seeing as I couldn't find the screen share option. Definitely out of practice with this live presentation stuff. I don't actually plan to do a presentation. I just wanted to use YouTube. I mean, as long as I've got a YouTube channel, I use it to announce the new website. I might tell you a bit about it before I sign off here. And the other thing is, well, YouTube itself. I already made a video. I think it was a live one. Must have been to say I wouldn't be using YouTube anymore, but yet here I am, and I've done a couple of uploads since then. So I'm going to explain that, well, not exactly explain, never complain, never explain, but just update it, which is that I may well use this YouTube channel for video clips from interviews that I do, for example, possibly Zoom meetings. When I have video and it feels like it's of interest to the general public, and I want to use this platform as a way to reach more people and to connect to those of you who only pay attention to me on YouTube for whatever reasons, I presume, because it's like TV, really. You just have certain channels that you like, and I happen to be on your TV guide, your YouTube guide, so you occasionally check in here, but you're not interested enough to follow the money, or to follow the seeds or the trail of breadcrumbs out of the labyrinth into freedom, so to speak, freedom from YouTube anyway. So I'll use it for that. However, as you'll see, if you go to the link, you won't see that, but you'll see that there's a video log page. And when you register at the site, you'll be able to see the first in this video series that I'm creating, which is a video chronicle of my process of extricating myself from the geopolitical superculture matrix and getting back to farming the land and this kind of thing. Although it's a bit premature to talk about farming, eventually I'll be chronicling that process too, I hope. And so the videos that will be featured there are Odyssey. I suppose I'll have to set Odyssey to private, otherwise there's not much point in having them private on my site. Anyway, I haven't figured that out just yet. So if you find me on Odyssey, you'll be able to see the first video without registering. But in the future, all my new videos, as it were, I mean the new material I create just to video, as opposed to just using stuff that is captured by Zoom, will be on Odyssey, not on YouTube. So that's my compromise, and it's a way to encourage people to move gradually from YouTube. YouTube is Google, and Google is evil. I'm a simple guy, a simple man. I like to keep things simple. 8 minutes have gone. So the other thing I suppose I'll announce, if I can call it that, is that, or I'll mention it anyway, that was a small handful of 16 Maps of Hell hard copies left with a rough draft at the exit, which have survived the move. I mean, I still had them when we made the move, and then I had to wait for the shipping container to get here, and so they're here, and I don't want to sell them per se. I don't really want to lose them because they're so valuable. I mean, they're probably actually literally valuable, monetarily valuable at this point. I'll say will be, but I mean they're valuable in terms of being the only remaining copies. Now it's possible to be a second edition. I don't know. Maybe at some point I'll make them pay on demand, or maybe somebody will want to do that, and I'll be willing to allow that. But for now, it's only available as an audiobook and as a Mobi and an EPUB. So I've got these beautiful original hard copies, mostly hardcover, a few softcover, and I'm feeling my way into what to do with them, and besides just keep them. And there's various options, there's auction, there's highest donation, etc. And what I'm considering currently doing is more along the lines of an auction, but not a boring old Sotheby's auction with going, gone. Just a meeting, which is not based on 16 maps of hell, but based on what the exit is, and how to find the exit and how to go through it. Based on my own experience and my own current example, I do feel confident in feeling that I can assist those who are really serious enough to take the awareness of existing in a socio-political, supercultural hell matrix seriously enough to start to formulate strategies of extrication. Because if you're not, well, you're not taking it seriously. And well, since 16 Maps of Hell was published, the world has officially, visibly gone to hell, and it's getting more and more official every day. And I don't feel that there's any hyperbole in that. I don't even pay attention to the news. This is just stuff I pick up secondhand, mostly from my wife because she follows certain Twitter feeds. Point being is there's really no way besides completely extricating from any kind of media whatsoever not to be aware that things are getting rapidly worse, and that comparisons to you know where, you know when, maybe you do, you don't, 1930s Europe, are not really out of place, and they might be a bit facile, low-hanging fruit, and that history, of course, has been re-narrated and distorted and misrepresented drastically. But the basic idea of a draconian superpower, state power, multi-state, global state power, cracking down and closing in and removing all of our freedoms one by one, passing through the border boundary of the skin into the interior freedoms, into consciousness itself, stealing our sentience and turning us into human batteries, well, as it was prophesized 21 years ago, in a few months, with the movie that you know I'm talking about, of which there's going to be a transgender sequel in a few months. That prescriptive programming is now, if not a matter of history, it's a matter of easy to foresee history. It might as well have been written. And do you want to be a battery? I'm thinking not. Don't think anybody consciously wants to be. But it takes more than just consciousness and sentience and even deep awareness to avoid this fate, because there's a momentum, there's a herd momentum of mimetic contagion, and so it takes not active resistance but active and conscious reorientation, disengagement from one currency flow and re-engagement into another, which would be most simply put us from culture to nature. Somebody just made a comment about the good people. It could be oxymoronic, the idea of good people, because it's possible that the idea of people and persons itself is a socio-cultural implant of the superculture. And what we really have is human bodies and a human energy field, and now there's a counterfeit human, anti-human energy field, which is not about giving the life force to bodies so that they can be animated from the source, but sucking the life force energy out of them into this new artificial anti-human energy field. So it's the technosphere which is attempting to supplant and usurp the newest sphere of the collective soul of the human incarnation of life. Certainly about the good, orientation towards the good. And what is good? And what we have is a very simple template for goodness called nature, which, among other things, is red in tooth and claw. It is a difficult place to navigate, to survive in. But I think it's safe to say, again, now that the writing's on the wall, it's a lot less hard than society. If we're talking about psychic, mental, emotional, psychological survival, I was going to say spiritual survival, but I don't think the spirit is ever jeopardized. It can be divorced from the body, however, which might be a terrifying prospect for the indwelling consciousness of that body if it's uncoupled from the spirit and from the body, and therefore left in some nightmarish limbo, which, if the old seer social engineers have their way, will continue indefinitely for millions and millions of years. Pray to the Lord within that it will not be. Certainly won't last forever. We can at least relax into that awareness. I'm currently surviving a drastic 3-tiered root canal, as in a failed root canal, performed on me by the local equivalent of Dr. Death in the Spanish dentistry industry. Although I have to say, I think that this person just made an honest mistake, really, rather than deliberately sabotage the nerve endings of this particular tooth. But in any event, the result was the same. The tooth was infected, and another dentist had to go in and undo the work of the previous, and then wait the time for it to heal, and then redo the root canal, and then replace the crown. So I've been rooted, I've been crowned, then I've been uncrowned, and I've been unrooted, and then I've been re-rooted, and now I've been re-crowned, and I'm suffering still from it. But in terms of the symbolism of the crown and the root, which are the two, the lowest and the highest energy centers of the human organism, I think it's quite rich. I'm just praying that it will take and I don't have to lose this tooth, because I've gone through so much to save it, not to lose it. That would be a shame. To have gone through all that merely as a way to build my character and make me a little bit less afraid of being tortured to death by the super state. Somebody wrote, Simone Nyman, who I know by email, wrote a daily blog sounds good. It won't be daily. The main, so thank you for the vitamin K2 advice. I was told coconut oil is the best thing. I still don't have any. I'm going to say the main, if I can get it rolling, the main thing you'll get by registering at the site is updates, newsletters. Now we'll be posting there, of course, but some of the stuff I won't post to the website, I'll simply put into newsletters, such as new interviews and this kind of thing, and just minor comments, because I won't be writing very much in terms of essays. I'll be writing just brief, punchy descriptions of things or commentary. I don't know what exactly. I suppose I might still do mini essays if I'm inspired, but I'm going to be so busy working on the renovations and the land that I doubt I'll have time for like the sort of serious concentrated writing, and certainly not the research-based kind. Somebody in New Tape just commented about the thrift store blog post. So, and that would be the most likely comparison to the kind of writing I might still do, which would be relating to my physical work and how it's transforming my inner landscape. This is something that I consider a crucial insight given to me by David Shana, who's linked to the new site, that in order to develop new ways of perceiving and to receive new insights and wisdom, it depends on learning to move the body or be in the body in new. So things like martial arts, they're not just about getting in shape or learning new physical moves. They change the consciousness and what we're capable of being conscious of. Because we can't think of anything really, or we can't become conscious or bring into awareness anything that we haven't physically experienced in some ways. Doesn't mean literally, of course, that we have to have sex to think about sex, but that there are certain parts of the body that we can't, that without having awareness in them, we simply cannot go there mentally. Or if we do, it's only mental, which is worse, in my view, than not going there at all. So, I had another thought, but it's gone for now. In terms of, anyway, related that to terms of my thrift store work and my house renovation work in Canada, and now currently the things that I'm allowing to come into my awareness, and say some of them come from outside, from life itself, or from metaphysical dimensions, divine revelations and such, possibly, why not? Whereas others come from the individual bodies. They're all coming through the body, but some of them would be coming up in the body because they've been stored in the body. They're unconscious awareness that we push down, and as the body becomes more enlivened, those things get awakened, processed, and brought through, out and through awareness into the light of day. Anyway, don't mean to get into sort of lecture there. Just to, well, it was twofold really. It was the kind of writing I expect to be doing, and the kind of insights that working with David Shannon has helped me to gain. So I didn't quite finish the 16 maps of health thing. That, if you're interested in, if you didn't get a copy and you're interested in getting a copy, but also if you're not, because this the meeting I'd like to set up is for both, then what I hope to do is quite soon is start an online workshop around exit strategies in the end times, which will be an exploration group, as in it will be interactive. I will present the evidence of my own life experience for how to align with the divine, how to align with our life force, and to tune into and be responsive to what we most love, what we most hold dear, that is the deepest goodness that we're able to access within ourselves and within others and with life itself, and to be guided by that orientation through a very dark labyrinth, which we have incarnated within for reasons that we know not. Somehow, some why, for some reason, some part of us in some sense chose to incarnate and be born and to live and to die, no doubt, in a world in which justice does not exist. A world of complete institutionalized, organized injustice, of a persecution of a species, well, of all species essentially. But human beings are the most persecuted species of all. It's the irony of that we framed ourselves as the persecuting patriarchy, and as the problem. Well, certainly we are the carriers of the problem in the way that no other species is, and it's visible, the symptoms of it are visible in us. But if there was a true plague running across the planet and it was carried by a particular species that was dying horribly in the process of carrying it, you wouldn't simply identify that species as persecutory or as a carrier. You would also recognize it as the victim, the first victim of the plague. Not that I think it's healthy to identify as a victim either. It's slipping between these two poles of persecutor, victim, predator, prey, and seeing that we have both within us. We have been engineered by good cop, bad cop, supercultural system to have those two sides, the superego and the id, constantly at war, disguised as negotiation, but really it's a war. And the schismogenesis within is spreading, has spread to, I won't say a total schismogenesis without, because we're in the first phases of what would appear to be shaping up to be the war of all against all. And yes, nature is hard and nature is demanding, and it asks a lot of us in order to bestow upon us its bounty. We can't just wander through paradise like Adam and Eve and just take what we want, because that didn't work for them either. There are snakes in the grass and poisons, and there is not bountiful food unless we either grow it ourselves or we enter a community that is already in the process of growing it, which is where I'm currently located. We will, I hope, be growing our own food, but currently we're also surrounded by people who are growing their own food. So establishing good human relations within that old world community that J.R.R. Tolkien based the Shire upon is essential as the wraiths of Sauron become legion across the land and the orc armies prepare for the final war between good and evil. Yes, we live in archetypal times, but main thing is to stay calm and keep our senses of humor and focus on the nitty-gritty of daily living, and how it's not just about solving these problems so that we can survive, and more than survive, flourish within dark times, but about recognizing the problems as essential opportunities for a deepening of our immersion in the earth realm, so we become more fully cognizant of where we are, more fully embodied, and thereby turning problems not into solutions by solving them, but into opportunities for joy. Because all of existence is that to the human spirit, and the spirit that is even before human. Always an opportunity for joy and for wonder, including whatever's unfolding on the great world stage. So I've actually been talking 27 minutes, even though today's my day off in terms of working, because I got this tooth stuff going on and my head's a bit spinny. I really encourage people to sign up for the David Shana event. I say people, use that word, but also plural. I encourage you, the one who's thinking about it, because I think there's one of you here is thinking about it. With my guess, maybe you're not here right now, but when you watch the video later, if it's not too late, the David Shana meeting is in 2 hours, I believe, so it's very soon. And the focus is on the COVID divide, but it's not for a discussion. I can't really say what it is or what it will be, but it certainly will be an opportunity to meet some people that you haven't met energetically and visually, audio-visually, and to possibly gain some new perspectives, and obviously to get a sampling of what Dave does. And I don't know if I'll be participating there, because there'll be lots of new people probably. So, but certainly the opportunity is there. And ditto for the new website. Encourage people to go there and to register. I haven't set it up so that currently you just register and you should just be straight in. I need to set up the system, otherwise I'll probably get overrun by bots. But right now, I think it should be instant. If you have any problems, email me, jason@protonmail.com, and let me know. And look around, and if you're interested in participating in any of the ongoing and upcoming events, then sees the nettle. Okay, well, I can't smile too broadly because my face aches too badly. But this is me doing more than putting a brave face on. This is me enjoying the hardships and challenges of existence, as I think even Job must have felt joy, the joy of Job, probably give that title now for this video, while being submitting to all of the devil's worst tortures with God's sanction and say-so, because Job knew that his spirit was with God, and as long as his spirit was with God, his body, well, his body could, well, his mind anyway, could endure anything that his body had to suffer. But let's pray that we don't have to relive the experience of Job, only Jesus Christ, which was at least shorter, at least in the family members. But one way or another, you've got to pick up that cross and go up that hill. This is Jason Horsley, who you know, and thanks for listening and signing in, taking the time out. I hope that you got something of value here today, and I hope I'll see you or see your name or hear from you via the website landmademan.com.